In today's video, we're going to talk about using content in your IvyLearn Studio library to create quizzes for your students that are a little more interactive than your traditional text-based assessments. So by the end of the video today, what you're going to be able to do is create a video quiz, customize those quiz settings, assign the video quiz to your IvyLearn course, and then view the quiz results in analytics. Let's get started. So the first step in getting a studio quiz into your courses is to go to your studio account. Once you have a video in your studio library, you can literally create a quiz out of any one of these. So whether you recorded it yourself or you uploaded it from Vimeo or YouTube, you have the ability to make a quiz out of any of these. I am going to use a video that I created to help create this quiz. So this is a video presentation that I have. If I want to turn this into a quiz, then what I'm going to do is click on this hamburger menu here and then come up here to the Create Quiz option, which you'll notice has the little new quiz logo. Once I click on this, it's then going to open up the video and it's going to immediately take me to this dialog box. It's going to give me the information for quiz. And then description would. We'll notice that down here you have a couple options. One is hide the question markers on timeline for students, or allow displaying annotations on timeline for students. So what these do is, if you do not select this, what students will be able to see when they get into the video quiz are little question markers that indicate where on the timeline the questions are going to appear. If I toggle this, it means that students will just see the video timeline, but they will not know where the questions are. And I'm going to show you this in both settings so you can kind of see what it looks like. Displaying annotations means that if there are any comments that you have or tips that you want to add to the timeline, that would show up along the way. And again, you can choose whether or not to do it. For this particular video, we're going to first show what it looks like with the question markers on the timeline. So once you've created the details of your quiz, it's now going to go to the video. And the way that you add questions to the video is by using this little plus icon down here that will appear along the timeline. In order to add a question on a specific point in the timeline, you do have to play the video or jump to specific points that you want to add the question. So once I hit pause, my plus icon is there. Once I click on it, it will then give me my question choices. Now, in a video quiz, you only have 3 question types, so multiple choice, true or false, or multiple answer. You cannot add essay questions or fill in the blank or any of the other types of questions that you can traditionally add in a classic or new quiz. For video quizzes, it's just these 3 choices. So it does limit you a little bit in terms of how you assess students. So you will need to think about what kind of assessment you want them to have, what kind of information do you want to get out of them, because again, while it is a cool feature, it's a little bit limited. So here we're going to add a multiple choice question, and notice it says question at 45 seconds, so that means that once students hit the 45-second mark, the question will appear. So again, you're just going to ask the question. Normally it would have to do with video content, but today we're just going to do a random kind of question. What day of the week is it? So you can add your answers. Editing this is pretty similar to editing a quiz or creating questions in a traditional quiz. So if you've got those skills down, you can do this hopefully pretty easily. So you're going to select the correct answer. Again, you can choose to shuffle your choices, vary points by answer, and then provide feedback if you would like, based on the response the student gives. So then you would hit save, and now you have a question at this mark. It's going to show up as a circle with the pencil inside, so that you know that there's a question there, and if you click on it again, it will give you the option to edit. So I'm just going to jump around and kind of show adding different options. So again, true or false, setting that up is pretty much the same. Today is Wednesday. Today is Friday, so we're gonna say that's false. And again, you can set up feedback. And then if I want one right at the 3-minute mark, and we want to now try our multiple answer feature. What are the formats for quizzes in Canvas? And again, your choices are going to be the same as if you set this up in format. So now I have, again, my questions here. You notice that these are the other questions. They show up as question marks as I move further down the timeline. And again, when I hover over it, I can edit. If those are all that I want to add, if that's all I want to do with it, I would come up here and hit done. And now it is saved as a quiz, and you can tell in my library by looking at the video. You'll notice that it has the quiz icon up there in the top right corner. So now that I have the quiz available, I'm going to add it to a course and assign it to my students. So you're going to go to your dashboard and find the course that you want to assign that video quiz to. You are going to do this by going to assignments. So if you click on assignments and create an assignment, you're not going to do it in quizzes because it won't work the way that you want it to. So I'm going to do Canvas, Studio Quiz, and then again directions. Specific directions that you need to give your students. Editing this would be like a traditional assignment. What's going to be different is you are going to use an external tool as your submission type. And in order to get it to Studio, you're going to click on this Find option. And it will bring up a list of all the external tools that are connected to your course. For this assignment, you're going to use Studio. So when you find Studio in the list of your external tools, you will click on it and it will pull up your Studio library. So you're going to need to find the video that you want to use. So I want to use this one. I'm going to hit select, and then you're going to have the embed options. So when it says embed quiz, I'm going to drop that down, select the one that I just created, and then click embed media. Then once it's done, I'll hit select, and now it is connected to the assignment. I'm now going to hit save and publish, which will help create that for the students to be able to see. So I'm going to walk you through what this looks like from the student view. Based on the settings for this particular quiz. So because we set this up to launch a new window, when they click on the assignment, it's going to take them to this page. You click on it, it will open a new tab, and it will take the student to the video. In order to get started, they just click on the Get Started tab, and it should start playing. Now, because we said that we wanted the questions to show up on the timeline, wherever there is a question mark, it means that there is a question that the student has to answer. The downside to this is that because I know where the questions are, I can just jump to them and maybe know what the question is, watch until I get that information, and then answer the question. So if there's additional information that maybe you want them to learn but not necessarily ask them questions on, they may not watch the entire video with this particular setting. However, if you do want them to be paying attention and pick up on a key detail or a key fact, having these questions available to them beforehand may be helpful for them to get the information they need. Once they get into the question, if they see that the question they don't know, they can hit the rewatch, which will take them back to the last setting. So in this case, it would be the last question. And then once they get the answer, or once they get back to that question on the timeline, then they can provide their answer. The nice thing is that even if they do kind of jump around with the questions, it will not let them submit until the video reaches the end. Once it reaches the end of its timeline, then it will say, hey, you've answered all the questions, submit quiz. Now, if I don't answer all the questions, so I'm going to remove mine, it will still show up as a question mark, so I can visually see that I haven't answered that question. And when I get to the end, it will tell me that I have a few more questions to answer. So it will, and then I can resume or choose to submit my incomplete quiz. The quiz results at the end, this one is going to show the question and the correct answer, and then whether or not you answered the question. And then depending on the settings, they can retake it or they can move on. So let's say that I decide that I would rather not have the questions show up on my timeline. What I'm going to do is go back to my library and find the video quiz, click on my hamburger menu, and then come up here to quizzes, and then to the studio quiz tutorial. And then you have the option to make changes. So to change the basic settings, you're going to come up here to our little cog icon, you click on it, and now it'll bring you to that basic dialog box. So for this one, I'm going to say I'm going to hide the questions for the students so that they cannot see where they are in the timeline. It is worth noting that once you have made this change, you will need to go through the process to re-embed this quiz because it will not update in the assignment with your new settings until you make that change. So if you have edits, you need to make sure that you do that before students take it so that you can make those changes and re-embed the quiz. Once you have made all your changes and you are happy, then you're going to come up here and hit done. So again, just to see what this looks like from a student perspective, once you get into the assignment, you're going to again say load the video. Once it loads, you're going to see the main difference is that you don't see the question markers along the bottom here anymore. So as a student, I don't know where the questions are, and I can't really jump around to answer the questions or see what it's going to ask me and what I need to be paying attention to. This way, it does force the students to watch the video the entire video, as opposed to having the ability to know where the questions are and jump around. So again, based on your settings or what you want to accomplish with this, this could be another option for you. In order to see and analyze the results of the quiz, you are going to have to go back to your studio library. So you're going to go back to your video that you have the quiz attached to, and you're going to click on the quiz icon in the top. When it pulls up, it's going to show the different versions of the video that exist. So in my case, I have the regular video, which is designated by the little play button icon. And then the different quiz or the quiz versions or the different courses that I have the quiz embedded in is going to show up with the quiz icon next to it. If you come down here to the quiz results, you've got a drop-down menu that has two options. One is the quiz and item analysis. You can see how students did on each one of the questions, what their scores are, so kind of get how long they took them to take the quiz, so it kind of gets some statistics there. And then you can also see individual student results. So you can see again how they did, how long they took, when did they submit, and then you can see their attempts as far as what they specifically answered. Having access to this data can definitely help you understand what students are getting out of the video and then help plan your lessons or learning activities from then on to help them understand and grasp concepts that they may be missing. So that's it. You now know how to create a quiz, how to customize the settings to make it right for your students, how to assign that quiz to your courses, and then how to view the results and analyze how students have done. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.